Welcome, everybody. A very warm welcome. My name is Michelle de Klerk, and I'm the founder of the Women's Chapter. And today, as part of our new W.Talks series on LinkedIn, we are talking to 3 founders who all have different businesses in the fashion and accessories industries. So a very, very warm welcome to Abbie Miranda from Beija, London, Joy from Potential You Stylist, Gabriella from Annellino Fine Jewellery. Welcome. Before we kick off into our discussion, I'm going to give you each an opportunity to introduce yourselves in your own words and tell us about what you do, your businesses, and kind of, I guess, your position or point of difference in the market. So, Abbie, can I start with you just because I'll kind of work clockwise from...
Okay. So I'm Abbie Miranda. I founded Beija London in 2016 with my assistant Maisie. We are predominantly a D2C lingerie brand. We've got a store in Coldrops Yard in King's Cross, and we are exploring wholesale this year, which is really exciting. Our USP is that we do cup sizes AA to H cup, and we sort of split sizes into XYZ, which are our sort of groupings. And so we sort of design a bra specifically for the needs of your cup size, rather than trying to make an A cup and an H cup wear the same bra.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Abbie. And I'm a big Beija London fan. I restocked my entire underwear drawer with Beija London because I didn't realize that actually I had been wearing the wrong bra size for like virtually my whole life. So it's been a revelation. Thanks very much, Abbie. Joy, can I go to you?
Yes, sure. Good afternoon, ladies, and thank you for inviting me on, Michelle. It's an absolute pleasure. This is my first LinkedIn Live, so I'm super excited. My name is Jewellery. I am the founder and creator of Potential You Styling Image Consultancy. We offer styling solutions for women. So I offer an array of services from wardrobe detoxing, wardrobe management, color analysis, personal shopping. And thanks to COVID, we also do lots of online styling services. Really, my ethos of my business is about empowering women, helping women to love the skin they are in unapologetically, no matter what size, no matter what age you are. I'm a real advocate of feeling good inside out, and I deliver that by elevating women's style.
Thank you so much. Gabriella, can I go to you?
Of course. Hello, my name is Gabriella Turner. I have a jewellery brand called Annellino Fine Jewellery, and I work with a 5th generation goldsmith based in Italy. The workshop is over 150 years old, and I suppose our USP is the fact that we make all our pieces in 18 karat gold, but also we hand cut a lot of the stones in-house, which nowadays is quite a rare thing. I have a cabinet in a hotel called the Stafford in St James in London, and then I also sell online through my website and a website called First Tips.
Amazing. Thank you very much. All of you have businesses, in slightly different areas in the fashion and accessories sector. Can I give you each an opportunity to maybe talk about some of the opportunities looking forward that you see for your sectors and your industries, maybe taking into account some of the changes that we've experienced now in terms of how people shop? Abbie, can we start with you?
For Beija, we've been really impacted by sort of the rules around Facebook and Google advertising and the rules around displaying women's bodies, which is a real tough one for us because all of our content is adult content, which is very frustrating. And they've also sort of made rules about sort of data tracking, all of the things that have really impacted Beija and actually all businesses everywhere. So for us, there are opportunities in looking at other avenues for acquiring customers. We can't just rely on digital marketing, which we have done in the past. It's working, but there needs to be other avenues to get the brand out there. So for us, the opportunities are in marketplaces. So that's really exciting for us. So we get exposure, but also an element of sort of controlling our stock levels and all of that aspect. And then also traditional sort of wholesale avenues as well, which are appropriate and sort of a good brand match, but just get the brand out there, which is exciting for us.
That's amazing. Thank you, Abbie. And Abbie, I mean, one of the interesting things that you just said now, which I think, a lot of what we saw over the last 2 years, a lot of brands that didn't have a really strong digital presence or a really engaged audience had to very quickly mobilize in that space. And I think that was crippling for some brands that just weren't equipped or possibly couldn't access the budget to suddenly become really active from a digital marketing perspective. But it's interesting to hear that, you were already set up for that. And now the challenges have moved on from there.
Exactly.
Everybody moved online, but now we're facing this sort of new set of challenges and rules around how you can market your product because of the sector that you operate
That's
in.
exactly it, Michelle. So we experienced a real nice growth over the pandemic, just as you said, because we were a digital brand literally set up for that growth and all of that exposure. It's just the rules around the advertising since the pandemic have flipped it a bit. So we have to, again, maneuver into different avenues. But that's exciting.
Yeah, well, thank you. Before I move on to you, Gabriella, I just want to introduce Sarah. She just joined us. Sarah is the founder of Sarah Haran. She makes the most incredible handbags. Sarah, do you want to just do a quick introduction and then we can move on to the rest of the discussion? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so sorry I was late. The blowing internet went down. Our offices are in the country, and then it all just, I was like, no. I was like, then I'm like, get that sorted because there's no point texting, just get on there. I was like, so I've rebooted the whole of the switch in the house to blooming well get on. So very sorry. But apart from being an IT technician, working for PT Broadbeams, I design and sell handbags. And we, like you were saying there, Abbie, we are sort of more digital. We've always done everything much more online. So through the pandemic, we sold lots of lovely handbags, which was quite amazing given that people weren't actually going out. But we tried to do something a little bit different, and we started a community, and now have faced the same challenges as you with the whole Facebook change and things. So yeah, lovely handbags is what we're really about. And the thing that makes them different is you can change the look of them in a few seconds, just with lots of different things that you can put on them. So different bag on the front, different strap. You can use all the bags separately as well. So our best seller is the Dahlia, and that really is 2 handbags in one. With the ability to restyle it for anywhere you're going, which seems to be resonating and gives us a point of difference, to be honest.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah. And I wonder if maybe just check the sound on your emails or something if the notifications are coming through, because we can hear them here. Gabriella, can I hand over to you to talk about kind of what opportunities you see for your industry? Because obviously, jewelry is typically something that people, especially in the fine jewelry space, would want to feel, touch, and try on. How have you navigated that, and what opportunities do you see for your industry now, considering all of the challenges we faced?
Well, I think the thing that I've certainly noticed is it's not necessarily just looking at it from a digital point of view, it's technology in general. So one of the things that I found during when I wasn't able to meet my clients face to face, and as I mentioned before, I do have sell online with a platform called First Dibs, and there predominantly my clients are based in the States, in the US. So I was always used to not being able to necessarily show my clients from face to face a physical piece. But one of the things that we do, and I've noticed is definitely becoming more and more common in the industry, is the use of 3D printing. So we will CAD design a piece. So say, for example, I have a client who's looking at a ring. I will obviously do the design by hand, and he or she will be able to see an image of it. But we'll take it one step further and we'll do a 3D image of it. And then I will 3D print a model. So this model, it won't necessarily look like a gold ring, but it will have the form, it will have the structure, and it will also have the size. So say I'm doing an engagement ring and the bride is choosing, she will be presented with this piece. She'll be able to try it on. She'll be able to see how it feels. And that has dramatically changed how you sell, especially bespoke pieces. And the same with the US. I have someone out there who will print it for me and I send it to my clients, and then I'm able to speak with them online and talk them through the design when they physically have something in front of them. Taking it a step further, a lot of the bigger brands and the bigger jewelry companies are investing quite heavily in AI and then also digital rendering as well, to really take that piece, take that design and make it a reality without actually casting precious stones and precious metal, which is quite interesting.
Wow, that's really exciting. And I wonder, is the 3D printing element of that, is that something that smaller brands like yours were able to adopt far faster? Because I'm kind of thinking, would a brand like Tiffany's have been doing things like that over the pandemic? Or was it kind of born from a need to keep that engagement up and be able to give people some sense of how it feels and what it looks like?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at a brand like Tiffany's, they already have the confidence of the buyer because it's a well-known brand. People see pieces, whether you start off with a kind of a silver necklace and then work your way up. When you're looking at more independent brands, there's a big, there's kind of, you need, one of my main things is credibility and trying to show potential clients who I am, describe where our pieces are made, how they're made, and then definitely the added element of having a 3D printed item in front of them definitely helps, because it just makes it a little bit more real without physically touching something.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And Joy, can I go to you? What opportunities have you seen coming out for the personal styling sector and the work that you do based on what we've been through over the last couple of years?
Yes. Well, pre-COVID, before you do Anno Domini, BC, now it's pre-COVID, all my personal styling services were in person. So personal shopping was in person, wardrobe detoxing was in person, color analysis, body shape analysis, everything. And it's funny, my husband had always been saying, do online, but I didn't. As soon as COVID landed on our shoulders, I started working online, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So I've held an array of master classes online. I did one on color, I did another one on body shape styling, another one on the trends of the seasons, what to wear working from home, all sorts. And it's been amazing for business. I also updated my website. So now all my services can be done in person or online. I have 3 clients after today's interview. And I found that COVID has enabled me to adapt as well and to switch my business to online. So I now work with clients across the world, in the States, in different time zones. And I just think that COVID, there have been lots of losses, obviously lots of loss and lots of death, but there's been also opportunities. So it really forced me to make sure that I was present online, as in every one of my services now can be done virtually, whether it's shopping, whether it's a wardrobe consultation. And Zoom has been a great tool for me business-wise, so that I can zoom into clients' wardrobes as opposed to having to physically be there. So I would say adaptability, being flexible in business, and it's opened up a whole new world. So I held my first physical masterclass last month with Harvey Nichols, and because I think people are also tired of constantly always being online, but it's been great because I'm doing lots online. So I'm thankful for the opportunities and being forced to adapt and to go online. So yeah, I think so, and I see that not changing much. So for instance, today I'm online. I've got 3 more consultations today. Tomorrow I'm out. So I try to adapt my business. Sometimes I'm online, sometimes I'm out physically with clients as well. And because as a personal stylist, it's quite taxing on the body. So I try to do one day out with clients, another day online, so that I can rest my legs. But yeah, it's taught me to adapt, to be flexible, to not become dated, because if I hadn't adapted, I would not have had a business. And it's opened up potentially to a whole new world of clients across the globe. So I'm thankful, very thankful.
Thank you, Joy. Well, Abbie, I wonder if you could comment on that, because being in the lingerie sector, who would have ever thought I don't know, 5 years ago even, that you would have an online bra fitting.
Yeah, online bra fitting is our COVID baby. And that really was incredible because of the size of our brand and team. We were able to activate it like really quick and any tweaks every day, tweaking it. So it's like a perfect launch and a perfect service basically for lockdown. All of the press was like, women not wearing bras like ban, no more wired bras. That's what the press was saying, but it was not our reality. Like,
women do wear bras.
Yeah.
Abbie, so how does your bra fitting work? Because I completely agree that 99% of women wear the wrong size bra. So it would be great to understand how yours work. Maybe we can, because I find that too many women wear the wrong size bra, and that's the foundation of getting your style right.
Exactly, it makes your clothes look so much better. And if you've got a pair, like a double G cup, you're gonna wear a bra, even if you
have to wear a bra
home all day. It's not comfortable to be braless.
Yeah.
So
it was probably men that wrote the article, Debbie.
Probably, but it was just really annoying because we had all this sales data that was just like the opposite of what the press was saying. But that was our COVID baby. So now the appetite is more for in person, like you were saying, Joy. It's lovely to have this service, but it's just as a small team managing where the customer wants to be. Does she want to have an online bra fitting, or does she want to come into the store and do it? In King's Cross, it's really accessible. We get customers coming down from Scotland to have a bra fitting and sort of see the collection. So at the moment, it's just sort of marrying where to put our focus, because we can't do everything. We can't have a 24-hour calendar for online bra fittings and the store opening like all the time as well. So it's just sort of always checking in with what the customer wants, and then adjusting the rota sort of around that. But yeah, when we were speaking to the customers over lockdown, what she was doing was having a big purge of her underwear drawer, clearing old stuff out, and literally just buying brand new like lingerie. And then Beija was sort of there to support that, which was great.
And Sarah, I wonder if you saw the same. What was kind of lockdown like for you in terms of consumer buying, and what opportunities have you seen coming out of that?
So like everybody else, we set up style consultations as well, and we're still doing those. So there is still a need for that, because we've done most things direct to consumer. Very few people ever came and visited us in our showroom anyway. So I suppose we were slightly lucky in that wasn't an expectation to go somewhere. Now it's a lot easier because people aren't saying to us, oh, I have to see your bags in a shop before I'll purchase. Whereas before that was always difficult for us. But now we seem to have got past that, and people are definitely more accepting of having an online consultation, as long as they know that we would return something, or they could return something if there was an issue. And people are much more accepting of Zoom. I think the opportunities now for us are to continue those, but to be able to get out and about again. So we're starting to climb on board that again and start doing more pop-ups and doing more events. So I think the technology has really helped, and I think it's the acceptability that has actually helped everybody now as well.
I don't know whose phone that is. Must be Sarah's. You're muted.
In a room where the main phone is, and they can't switch it off because then they won't get the phone call. Managed to switch off the notifications though. God, honestly. So yeah, oh dear. So I would say that yeah, tech is definitely an enabler now, and much more so than and I think people are more open to it. And I think we'll be able to see much more of a mixed sales approach, and I think that's good. It gives people more opportunity to shop in the way that they want. I think there's still plenty of people that would prefer to not have to go out, and then have the treat of going and getting a bra fitting, to be able to have the two options. That would just be amazing, I think.
So it's that combination of necessity where you can just hop online, or you can make a purchase when you need something, and you can have that kind of instant fix, I guess. But then equally, as you were saying, you know, the physical part now is more of a treat and more of an experience. And is there pressure on brands, and Joy, you could comment on this as well, to provide more of an experience now that people are open to physical engagement again? I mean, do you feel this kind of sense to make it even more special for them because they're making the trip, or they're willing to connect in person? Abbie, maybe I can start with you.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with what Sarah's saying. It's so nice to have the in-person experience. Yes, it's great online because it's like, and because of the intimate nature of our product, like, you're quite immediately, it's quite an intense relationship between brand and consumer. Like, it really gets quite personal very, very quickly because the customer is vulnerable. So that's amazing. And we can hold that space really nicely online. And like Sarah says, some women, they can't get out the house. They do prefer it. They're still COVID secure or whatever reason. So that's amazing to have that as one portion. But there is just nothing like about as good as meeting in person and interacting, feeling the lace, feeling the product. But yeah, it is a treat. Like, lots of our customers in King's Cross, they'll be doing, you know, meeting up with their girl gang, mums and daughters, having a nice day out. Yeah, so it is more of experience, I say. And yeah, the pressure is on because purses are squeezed.
Do you feel that as well, Gabriella, when you're meeting with clients in person now, that you need to make it feel really special for them, like that it's more of an occasion than it might have been before?
To be honest, working in fine jewellery, it already was an experience, and that's something that I very much wanted to always have when I started Annellino. So I started it because obviously by the name and by the goldsmith, it's Italian based. And in Italy, there is this culture of you have your local jeweler, you go along and you speak to them, and it's about that relationship. You may not automatically go there with the intent to purchase something, but you build up a relationship. You speak to them about what you like, what you don't like, and then in many of the bespoke piece cases, we go from there. And then obviously, with the nature of it being fine jewelry, we're working with precious metals, working with precious stones. For many people, many of my clients, it is a treat. Like Abbie said, it's a treat. And so I've always wanted to create that experience of being able to work with someone, answer what they're looking for. And it's many times it's a kind of maybe a one-time purchase, or purchases for to celebrate certain milestones in their life. And therefore I always do want to create that experience. And from having the cabinet in the hotel in St. James in London, that is where I meet the majority of my clients. And it's beautiful. The hotel is fantastic. You sit down, it's a 5-star hotel. We sit down, have a cup of tea. And it is that experience has always been at the forefront of my mind with Annellino. Anyway.
I wonder if Sarah, I can ask you a question about, because I, as an owner of one of your bags, I know the quality and how incredible they are, and also how versatile they are. But if you're selling to somebody online, from a price point perspective, you compete with some of the sort of really well-established luxury brands. How have you navigated that online and getting people to kind of trust in your product? Has it been based on the free returns, or how have you sort of built this community around your independent brand, where essentially you're competing in a space that has a lot of really established brands with loyal customers?
I think one of the things that we've tried to get over is that the bag is unique, and that you can change the look of it, and that at least gives us a bit of a USP, because otherwise, if we didn't have that, I think it would be much, much more difficult to stand out, particularly when you're starting up. I can't give myself 100 years of saddlery, because that's time, and time you just can't buy. So we've worked hard on showing the quality. I've got videos on all of my products. I've done as much as I can to go out and talk to people and show them. We've worked really hard on getting reviews from our customer base as well. So we've got over 3,000 of those now, and they're all 5-star. So that's been, you know, people will buy from other people. And we also, if anyone's in doubt, we push them into our community and let them see what other people are saying about the bags as well. And we've worked on trying to get influencers to help us as well, just to show the bags in different situations. But yeah, at the start, that was a big challenge. When you've got a clean sheet of paper, you've got no customer testimonials, it is really hard. And I mean, we're nowhere near where we would want to be. But if we just keep chipping away at that and build up trust, I think that's really the only thing. And you just have to take the time there. As I say, you cannot buy time. It's the only thing. It literally can't. So it's kind of like, I'm passionate about the business, so I've just got to do the time and just let it build up organically. It's not, you know, I can do as much as I can do with all our Facebook advertising and all the adverts that we do. And, you know, we have a very long period that people will purchase from us. Sometimes it can take up to 6 months. It can take up to a year. And you just never know when someone's going to purchase. You just got to be there at that moment. And we just keep talking the same talk. We have a lifetime guarantee on the bags as well. So even if you've never met us, at least if you know that, well, if the worst comes to the worst, at least they've got a guarantee against their product. And we do stand by it. And time on in, where if there have been any issues, we've got customers that will say, well, yeah, they're there for you. And having these 5-star reviews has made a big difference to us.
Thank you. Joy, I wonder what your perspective is on how consumers are reacting to, or how willing they are to invest in independent brands, because obviously you get to sort of be the ambassador for many brands that come across your radar. But from a consumer purchasing perspective, have you found that women are more open to trying a new independent brand as opposed to just going with what they always did before?
I think that when it comes to personal styling, when you invest in a personal stylist, you trust your stylist's perspective. It's a very, very close relationship. You're in the client's home, you're measuring their body, you're in their wardrobe. It's a very, very personal relationship. So what I find is that clients do trust my judgment. I don't really shop with a brand in mind. I'm open to all brands, whether new, whether old. I always shop with the client in mind, as in what the client needs, what are the gaps in her wardrobe, what's her body shape, what's her colouring, and then I pick pieces that suit that. So I never think I'm only going to shop at this brand, or I'm only going to shop at that brand. Because of what I do, I'm at liberty to see all the brands, and I always shop with the client's needs at the forefront of my mind. So whether it's a businesswoman that is time poor and wants things that are easy to wear, whether it's a working mother that wants practical pieces that are adaptable for her lifestyle, I'll always shop with the client in mind. And I'm open to new brands, because I think new brands also pay more attention when it comes to customer service. And just to answer your question before about experience and service, for me as a stylist, I think my service has been exactly the same. I'm a massive advocate of customer service, treating the customer well and making them feel really great. So like Gabriella, I don't really see a difference between now or before COVID, because taking care of my clients is really, really important. So a lot of the feedback we get things like, I felt like a queen, I felt so confident, it's really cathartic, it's really elevated me. And that's something I'm really keen on every client experiencing when they work with me, that they feel great and they feel empowered during the whole service. And I try to bring that in person and online, but nothing beats in person. Just like was said earlier on, nothing beats in person. In person is the best way, I believe. But it's great to have online. It's a great option, particularly if you don't have access to come out or you're international, but nothing beats in person. It's more effective. You get to feel the client more, and it's just much more of a magical experience, I'd say. But service I'm really particular potentially about every woman feeling great, whether online or in person. Yeah, so.
Thank you. I mean, one of the really exciting things that's come out of what all of you have been saying, and very much flies in the face of the news that we were hearing, was that people were shopping and they were spoiling themselves and they were spending time online discovering new brands. And I think for obviously the women's chapter, our whole community is made up of independent women-led businesses. It's really exciting to hear. You've all had slightly different experiences, but largely positive in terms of how people have responded. They haven't all been slouching around in, tracksuit bottoms and hoodies, that they've been thinking about the handbag they want to buy, or about investing in new underwear, or buying themselves a beautiful piece of jewelry, or completely overhauling their wardrobes. So I think that's something that's really exciting and probably isn't spoken about enough, with these things that actually were happening, that flew in the face of what media was saying about the doom and gloom of COVID. It's quite rebellious, really, if you think about it.
Definitely.
Thank all of our female consumers for that. Abbie and Sarah, you both have really big online communities. I wonder if you might be able to share, each of you, an advice with those that are listening today around what they should consider doing first, if they don't have the size community that they would like, or they realize that that's possibly an area that they've fallen short in terms of building their businesses. What advice would you give on how to go about really building an engaged community and where to find them? Abbie, can I start with you?
First of all, I'd say it's really got to be authentic. Our community is actually the community of women that are around each of us and our employees. The copywriter we just onboarded, she's a mum from the school. The model that we use is the photographer's ex-boyfriend's sister. Like, it is an actual real community. In terms of building that into your digital community, my advice would be, which is what we did, which actually really works for customer loyalty over all of these years, is doing the little event stuff early on, pop-ups, brand parties with other brands similar size to you, stylist live, those sort of like random little things, and meeting your customer in person, having that interaction with them, and then you've got a loyal community. You have to. That's how we did it, and the most valuable customers are the ones that we met all of those years ago. They're advocates for the brand, they're ambassadors, they're bringing customers with them, they come to all the parties, and that's really worked well for us.
Thank you. And how about you, Sarah?
Yeah, pretty similar experience. We didn't really have an online community at the start, and really the only reason I did it was because I thought, well, actually I've heard this thing called COVID, and it actually might turn out to be something that we should perhaps plan for. And so on the 1st of April, I remember thinking, oh my God, now we're in this lockdown situation, I need to do something. So I knew at that point we had about 200 customers that were our sort of really loyal ones. And I thought, well, let's get to know them better for the next little while and see if we can just try and enjoy this experience as much as possible being in our houses. And so we kicked off a promotion to them, which was basically, come online, let's all chat and support each other. Let's talk about handbags, because it's the one thing we've all got in common. The one thing we can do is change the look of the handbag. So we started to run a few competitions to see who could make their bag look the most different. We ran it against themes, and people just started to chat to each other. In our first week of it, one of the things we launched was boxes of joy to be sent to people that they identified that had been helping with the pandemic. So nurses, people in Safeway, wherever it was, in the supermarkets, and all of the customers that were in our little group started to nominate. And we were doing it weekly, and we were having fun with doing that, and that really drew more people in. So it was really trying to build a community of interested people. Like Abbie said, it had to be authentic, and we have to nurture it as well, and we have to be the people. So it's almost like having a house party. You know, if you invite people to your house, you've got to look after them, and you've got to make them feel special for coming and seeing you. And in your own house, if you're having a dinner party, you know, you lay out the best silver, you lay out the best drinks, you know, you do the best for the people that are coming. And that's the sort of the attitude that we've had in our club. And then we've used that to do events, done all sorts of different events. They were monthly, we've moved them to quarterly now because people have got other options. But we've just tried to make it as exciting as possible. And that's really sort of helped us. And I use it to let them tell me about what sort of bags they would like, what sort of designs they would like. So it's all that interactivity with them and giving them a voice and being respectful to them as well. It does take quite a lot of management. I don't know if Abbie has experienced that as well, but perhaps more management than I'd anticipated, just to make sure that it remains a joyful place and we stick to our own values. And in order to do that, you need to have, you know, an authenticity about it. But it's been great. And one thing I would say is you get to know your customer in a way that you perhaps wouldn't have done. And that, because we are selling handbags, there's not that closeness that you would get maybe in a bra fitting or purchasing or cleaning out somebody's wardrobe. We're kind of slightly back from that. So being able to see who our customer is and get to know them and make decisions about what we should be productizing, what we should be talking to them about, has been really invaluable.
Thank you, Sarah. I wonder if I can move on now to what advice you would each give to somebody launching a business now, or, you know, drawing on your learnings of running your own businesses. Gabriella, can I start with you? What's kind of like your golden nugget that you would share with somebody who is considering starting a business now?
I think if I was able to talk about the jewellery sector, if someone's deciding they want to start launching a jewellery company, the one thing that I would say is to get as much experience across the board. So especially if you're talking about fine jewellery, when I first started, I shadowed the goldsmith. I sat in with many kind of various retail spaces, saw how, for example, with the goldsmith, how pieces were made, how the stones were cut, to get a real idea behind how these pieces are made. And then in turn, that helps you to start designing them as well. It's fantastic to be able to draw a beautiful piece on a piece of paper. But one of the things that we really do take into account is, you have a stone, how do you show this stone off in its best light? And that came from me shadowing to see how the pieces were made. Secondly, also, I studied gemology, so I know about the stones as well, and that has really helped me moving forward, especially when speaking to clients. And I think with something like the fine jewellery space, a lot of it is built on trust. It's a fantastically weird and wonderful sector to be able to work in, because you are, on the one hand, people from the outside think, oh, you're working with these beautiful stones and everything like that. And you really are, obviously. But you can, for example, if I'm working with on a bespoke piece and I need to give a client a selection of stones to show, I can walk away with 3 beautiful 1-carat diamonds worth X amount. And that doesn't necessarily happen in a lot of sectors. And I think that being at the stage to be able to do that was because of the experience and me throwing myself into it from the beginning. So yeah, I think it would definitely be throw yourself into all aspects of the sector, try and learn as much about it, not just the branding and the design side as well.
Well, and I think that approach to becoming an expert in your field and understanding a 360 of how your industry works also builds your confidence. And especially in the setting where you're going out and looking for investment, etc., that's really, really key to knowing what your business is worth and what you're worth, because you're an expert in your field. So thank you. That's a really good piece of advice. Joy, what advice would you have?
I just want to buttress what Gabriella said. I completely agree. I think it's important to be qualified in what you're doing. So I went from finance to fashion. I trained as a personal stylist at the London College of Fashion. And then I also trained as a fashion buyer as well, because of what I do, the nature of my work. So I think being good at your work and your craft is really, really important. It's not just about fashion and liking clothes. It's about understanding composition, fabrics, clients, color, etc. So I say get qualified, get good at what you're doing, because when you're good at what you're doing and you're an expert, people will see that and they'll appreciate it and they'll come back from it for it. But generically speaking, in any business, and you're starting a new business, I would say that business can be quite a lonely journey. I was in accountancy for 13 years, quit my job, sold my house, started my business in 2008. And I remember my first interview, I remember crying because nobody listened. None of my friends listened. I was just like, huh? Then I realized, Joy, everybody's at work. You need to get with other business women. So I would encourage anyone going into business to network and to collaborate. Business can be a very lonely journey. Get out there, network with women. There's so many beautiful communities of women, and I've got so many genuine friendships from it. So I would just say network if you're starting business, and I wish you well with it. I wish you good success.
Thank you, Joy. And Sarah, I mean, you were a high-flying IT executive for many years. That was kind of your primary career, and then you decided to launch a handbag brand. So did you, I mean, can you? Yes, you do. Yeah. Does that all resonate with you, having to learn a new industry?
Yeah, I certainly had to learn a new industry, that was for sure. You know, my whole career had been in IT, and you know, I had a big Rolodex of people I could call upon if I wasn't sure about something. There were people in my network that could help. Whereas in fashion and handbag making, I didn't know anybody. I was literally starting from scratch. So it was a sort of a two-pronged approach. Learn and make myself an expert in my field. I started doing handbagging as a hobby. So I did exactly the same as Gabriella and as Joy is saying, you know, go and get the experience that you need, do the courses, go and learn. And, you know, I really did that because you need to be an expert in your field. And then beyond that, although IT is different, it is essentially just a business, and all businesses have the same foundations. You know, you need to know your customer, you need to look after your customer, and you need to be willing to adapt. Every day is a school day. I don't think there's ever a day when I think I wake up and I think today's the day I will know everything. Well, I think that the day I say that is the day I should probably stop running a business, because there will be another challenge, there'll be something else. And I think people just have to accept that that's what makes running your own business challenging, but also really exciting. And if you get a thrill out of that, then yeah, running your own business is the place to be. And you're right, Joy, going out and finding other women in the same position, because it is kind of lonely, and you don't really know that until you're sort of sitting there and you're like, oh my God, who do I ask about this? Because there's no one to ask. And so all of these sort of networking groups are amazing. And I've had a great experience with the women's chapter through since I met Michelle. So it's been great, and the support is there. And I'm a member of one in Scotland as well, because it's on the doorstep. But it's the same thing, just having that support around you. Yeah, because your friends will soon be bored of it. You know, they want to be supportive, but they haven't necessarily had the same challenges that you've had, and so you don't want to annoy them too much eventually. I think my husband is definitely sick of me running my own business. He's like, oh my God, go and talk to somebody else about that. So.
Thank you, Sarah. We're almost at time, so I wondered if each of you could share either kind of a business or personal motto that you live by, or mantra. You know, what are the words you go to when you're feeling vulnerable or out of your depth that you might be able to share with everyone today? Abbie, can we start with you?
What's been a really good advice that I've had recently, and it's sort of quite relevant to the investment journey that we went on last year, is working out people's like what's their motive. What's like their motive when they want to do business with you, or they want to sell you a product or sell you something that's going to revolutionize your business and solve all your problems. What's their motive? Like, do they just want you to do what they say? There's that. Do they just like the sound of their own voice? There's that. Or do they genuinely really want the success of the business and the brand and the women in the brand? And the people that we've partnered with, like, it's so obvious they just want the success of the brand and are doing such helpful, amazing stuff for that. It's not about anything else apart from the business doing well, and it's working that out. And if you can, trying to work that out about the people that will get starting business with or working with or selling you a product early on saves an awful lot of time. Because we wasted quite a lot of time with people. They just wanted us to do what they said, and like,
yeah,
they just wanted that specific thing. And it's like, no, it's not about that. The only thing important here is the success of the brand and women wearing Beija. Like, that's the goal. Everyone needs to be behind the goal.
Does the same apply for resourcing? Because I know that is a huge problem that businesses face in terms of taking on staff and building a team and choosing the right people, because there can be really expensive mistakes, right? So
yes,
would you apply that same kind of thought process to when you're hiring someone?
Exactly. Yes, because it's so obvious within the team, the people who are behind the brand with the right motive, like, they just shine so brightly, and they just sort of outshine everything because they are so clearly motivated by women wearing our product, and that, like, that's the goal, and they get it and do everything for that. And it's, it becomes quite clear when that's not the case. But everyone on our team is fabulous.
I know, they're brilliant. And I think that's one of the challenges that all of us as business owners face, I think, is to partner and work with people that share our vision, because it's hard to find people that are as motivated and enthusiastic about your business and your product as you are. But
also, because of the nature of the product, again, like something, they might be trying to sell us a package that's relevant to T-shirts, small, medium and large, and there's pushing a product on us, but we're like, it's not right. We've got 42 sizes, hundreds of SKUs. It's not the same thing. Like, we've got nipples, we've got, like, it's a different thing. And like, if people need to understand that or not, really.
Thank you. Gabriella, do you have a mantra that you go to when you need to motivate yourself and that you could share with us today?
A mantra which I need to motivate myself,
or a mantra that you just kind of use in business and in life. I
think in my case, the reason why I started Annellino is still very true to me today. And I think that is something, it isn't necessarily a mantra which I necessarily say to myself, but it's something that I do keep quite close to me. So for example, if I can share it, my mother's Italian. I've spent a lot of my time I was born and brought up here in London, but I spent a lot of my time going backwards and forwards to Italy when I was younger, when I was little. And in Italy, there is this culture, I touched on it before, of working with artisans, and the idea that you have your dressmaker, or you buy a piece of clothing, or you buy like say a bra or a handbag, whatever it may be, and it's been well made, it's been well thought out, and therefore it lasts you for many years to come. And the same goes with jewelry. So I started Annellino because I didn't really see that happened over here. I tended to see the jewelry space as something extremely commercial. You went to a certain place and you were pushed into either, there's the words diamond dealer come around. It's not a particularly nice way of speaking about around the industry. It is all quite commercial. And I wanted to bring in this experience of working with people to work out what they want, and then eventually, actually touching on what Sarah said, down the line, they may not be your client now, but then in 6 months' time, you never know when someone is going to come to you with something. And especially with the fine jewelry space, you're working with people who are buying things for events or special milestones in their life. And so I think my mantra would be just to keep on remembering why I started that. And there are always down days. There are always days where you kind of, something doesn't quite go as you planned it to be. And if you have that in the back of your mind, it will definitely keep you going. Keep you going.
Thank you. Joy, can I go to you?
I would say I'm quite a positive person. I'm a Christian, so one of the things that I believe in is that I'm wonderfully created, and I believe that for every woman as well. And that's something I try to lead with my clients so that they feel good about themselves. So it's all about feeling confident and feeling empowered. And with my personal styling business, that's what I want every woman to feel, that she's wonderfully created, irrespective of her size, her background, her colouring, her shape. Women are wonderfully created, and that's what I try to do through personal styling. So really just helping women to feel confident in their skin and to appreciate who they are. You don't have to be a size 0 to look great. You don't have to follow certain trends. You can be yourself, dress for yourself, and exude confidence inside out. And as a confident person myself, I try to impart that to my clients through personal styling, being wonderfully created and knowing that you don't have to copy anybody else. You're good as you are, and to be yourself unapologetically.
That is a beautiful message to share with, especially since we're about to end soon. But yeah, that we should all remember we're wonderfully created, inside and out, and even in terms of the businesses that we've created and drive, that they are all very special for their own reasons. And like you said, Gabriella, it's remembering and going back to your why and your purpose. Why are you doing this? And I think when we lose sight of that is when we do start to have to really question why we're doing what we're doing. Sarah, do you have a mantra you can share with us before we end off today?
Yeah, nothing too formal, but I think for me, what I've learned, and having 20 years in IT, which eventually just started to drive me insane, I think you do have to enjoy everything that you do. And one of the things about our brand is that we try and bring joy to our customers. And so that's kind of our starting point. Will this customer feel joy if we do this? Do I feel joyful today, even though the sun's not shining? How can I make myself feel joyful? And I think the time that if I get to the point where I stop feeling joyful about it, then I should probably stop doing what I'm doing, because if I don't feel joy, then how can anybody else? So that I remind myself quite frequently. And then the other thing I always think about is being willing to adapt to any of these challenges, because business is a challenge. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And I just try and remind myself of that. COVID was not something any of us could ever have written down and thought was going to happen in our lifetime. And look how we've all managed to adapt to it, and listening to everybody, you've all come up with amazing ways of dealing with something that's kept us in our houses almost for 2 years, but we've all still adapted. And I think that's the great thing about women and in business. We're all very adaptable, and we're doing our best to keep adapting and keep going, because what we're doing brings us joy and we're passionate about it. So,
yeah. No, and I think that's a perfect combination of those sort of two, sayings: keep on keeping on, but as long as you're having fun and it's bringing you joy and it's fulfilling you, because you've got to, there's no point in kind of flogging a dead horse. We do all need to be really honest with ourselves along our journey and make sure that we're still having fun. And that's why we run our own businesses and work for ourselves. So thank you so much, all of you for joining us today. We've had some lovely comments as well. Someone's thanked us here for the great takeaways and mantras, especially to your point, Abbie, about what to watch out for. The comment here is that it really speaks to where she finds herself right now. And also for the injection of confidence to you, Joy. So there's some lovely comments here. Thank you very much, Emily, for yours. We'll carry on commenting after this has been saved to LinkedIn. It will be visible for anyone who came in halfway. When you click on this event, you will be able to view the whole event. Otherwise, you can find it on the Women's Chapter video page as well, which is under our events category. All of our videos are uploaded and saved there, so you can go and watch the whole conversation. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. Lovely.
Thank you.
I think there's something that has to be done with all of you. I'm thinking a brand party.
Yes, that's a good idea.
One in Scotland and one in Coldrops Yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. At least one down there. I can travel.
Really cool. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing yourselves and your time today.
Bye, gang.
Bye. Well, bye.